While editing in DaVinci Resolve, if you are unfortunate and you end up seeing the good old media offline in your timeline and on your footage, it doesn't mean that your project is a complete disaster. I'm gonna go over a couple of the different reasons as to why you see this and get your project back to where it once was. So the first and primary reason why most people end up seeing the media offline has to do with media being moved. So if that is, you take it on an SD card, pop the SD card in your system, you start editing, you then for some reason pull out that SD card and try to go back to that project. Well, now DaVinci Resolve can't actually access that particular piece of footage because it was on that SD card. Now, I highly recommend never actually editing off of an SD card. You want to take that footage and put it on your hard drive somewhere. If it's a storage device, a NAS device, or on your internal hard drive, highly recommend doing it that way so you don't have to worry about if the storage is plugged in, since it's now in a permanent location. If your media actually moves location, so like let's say we have all our videos on our computer, but let's say we want to put it in different folders. So let's say we have some footage of the park and of the mall. We want to put them in separate folders. And now DaVinci Resolve is saying, hey, media offline, I can't find it. So we just have to tell DaVinci Resolve where the new location is. And there's actually 3 different tools that we have access to do this. So I'll quickly show you. The first one, if we come up here and we click on this, we're going to be asked 2 different options here. Locate will initiate a simple search, allowing you to look within a specific folder. Disk search allows you to do what's referred to as a deep disk search, searching the whole disk on your system. In a lot of situations, I highly recommend not doing that because it's going to take so long, because it's going to be looking at a lot of footage. Now, if there is a piece of media that you just can't find and you want DaVinci Resolve to search through everything to try to find it, it will definitely do that. There is an additional way that we can go about doing this, but let me first show you using the first way, and then I will show you, continuing on that. So if I came in here to locate, now, I should back this up and show you my actual files. So I brought everything in this folder 1, that's where all my files were, but then we made the folder 2. So think of the park and the mall, right? And then I decided that, okay, I want this one file to be over here, this construction video, I want that to be in folder 2. And now I have it offline in my actual DaVinci Resolve. If I take a look at this and come over here into metadata, we can see that it goes to C, users, Justin, documents, project files 1, right? So that's that file folder 1. And so we now need it to go to folder 2. Now we can tell it the exact location, or we can just point it towards a folder. So this first way that we have here, if we click in here and we go locate, now we just have to locate to wherever that particular folder is, right? So I'm just going to, just for simplicity, make it easy. I can then just click on 2, right? So folder 2, locate. Then it locates it and it automatically brings it in. As simple as that. But what if we go a step further where we end up putting media within folders, within other folders? Well, there's an additional way. So if we take a look, our first one was locate. And then search disk. There is search disk is referred to as a deep search, I believe that they refer to it as, but then there's also a comprehensive search, which is kind of like the middle ground of those two. And so let's first come over and start to move some of the locations in here. So like, let's say we added in our mall folder, and we'll take these and put those in the mall folder, and then inside the mall folder, we'll make a folder 3 and take these 2 and put them in there, right? So now that we did that, if I move along my playhead, we can see that some of them are missing and we can't actually see them. It's actually 3 of them that we can't see. And one of them must have got deleted. Oh, right there, third one. Okay, so 3 of them we can't see. So if I came up here again and I went to locate, and then we went into that folder 1 and hit search, we'll see that we can't actually find it, right? So the other way that we can go in and look for these 3, you can either click them here or click up here or go over to the media page and look in here, is if we highlight all of them, we right click, and then we go relink selected media. And then from here, we're just going to pick the location. So what this allows us to do is pick a top level folder. So if all of the project files are in a folder, but then we change which folders they're in to better represent what the media is, here we can just click that folder, right? So that's what we want, the project files. We'll go search. It says that it can't find it. Then it'll ask us, okay, do you want us to do a comprehensive search? And then we hit yes, and it goes in to all of those other folders, and it looks to see, okay, is it in any of these other folders? So if you were to break it up into 20 different folders, you have the first one, which the locate, that's referred to as a quick search. So that quickly just searches in that one particular folder. And then we have the comprehensive, which I just showed you, which goes into all the folders within that folder that you're initially looking. And then we have the deep search, which is searching the whole hard drive. Like I said, prefer not to do the whole hard drive, especially if you have a very big hard drive in the terabytes, because there's a lot of little folders and it just takes a lot longer. But it's a good last resort if you just cannot find this media. So that's going to be the way in which that we bring media on if we changed its location. But there is two other reasons why we would end up seeing this show up on screen. One of them is if I come over here into my edit and I take one of them in my media pool and delete it, we'll see that it's showing as offline media here, right? So that is another way that we can also get this offline media, because DaVinci Resolve is saying, hey, I want to look for this, but it's not in my media pool to tell me where to look. So now we have to reintroduce it back into the media pool. So that's something that you will also need to navigate if that ends up happening where you don't see it offline here, but then you do see it offline on your timeline. So that's the other way. There's actually two other ways that we can end up seeing this. And one of them, most people won't see, but sometimes you will, depending on what is referred to as your latency of your hard drive, or just how fast your hard drive is. So without getting too much into the details, this is really a rarity and is typically seen with mechanical hard drives or really old aging SSDs. An easy sign of this is if you're able to pause the video and see the frame, but while you're playing, you're unable to see the frame, it might be time to use a different storage device, either get a new hard drive or use a different internal hard drive on your system. But more so than that is going to be revolving around cache. And so I can quickly come over here and show you, if we go into playback, we have a couple of different cache options, right? We have smart cache and user cache. There are like 5, I think, different caching things that happen within DaVinci Resolve, but these are going to be the ones that are typically going to give you any type of issues where you're going to see offline media show up on screen. And so if you end up seeing this, it can also be, like I was saying before, with your computer's hard drive not being able to keep up. But a quick fix for this to see if that is the problem is we can come into render cache, go to none, and then go into delete render cache and click all. Clicking all will delete all of the render cache. So anytime that render is referred to on the timeline, so when you see a little red bar turn blue, that's your render cache. If DaVinci Resolve, while it's playing, if it sees that it has a render cache available and it tries to read that and it can't, then you'll get the offline. So if by deleting it, then it won't show up, or DaVinci Resolve won't know that there is potentially a render cache connected, so it won't look up for that. So that's kind of getting in the weeds and getting a little nerdy, but it's kind of like clearing the cache by just hitting delete render cache and then just having it make everything from scratch again. So those are going to be your primary reasons why you end up having that. If you want to know more about DaVinci Resolve, check out the website. I have hundreds of pages going over everything you'll possibly think of on the blog when it comes to DaVinci Resolve. If you want to learn more and go through an actual course, potentially get certified, or you just want some downloadable content, titles, transitions, bar charts, that sort of thing, that's also on the website. Take a look at that. But with all that being said, my name's Justin. Thanks so much for watching. Until next one, have a good one, guys. Peace.